the last inmate remarked, this island was never no good for nobody. For those imprisoned here, Alcatraz was often the last stop. But on the luxury yacht California Hornblower, 700 passengers have chosen Alcatraz as their starting point. They're triathletes, and as the fog lifts over Alcatraz, they are ready for their challenge. Australia's Greg Welch puts the rock out of his mind. He's the defending champion here, as is his countrywoman McKeely Jones. 1 year ago, they both escaped from Alcatraz. Just after 8 a.m., they plunge into the chilly bay. Alcatraz looms over their shoulder, but their daunting challenges lie ahead. First, a 1.5 mile swim through the bay's 52-degree waters. Once on land, an 18-mile bike ride, an odyssey over this city's fabled hills, and finally an 8-mile run and the legendary sand steps. For more than 30 years, no one escaped from the rock. Today, more than 700 triathletes will try in the 24-hour fitness escape from Alcatraz. Alcatraz, from A to Z, all the emotions a life of crime can evoke, captured in a single word. And for triathletes, an equally powerful symbol. Hello everyone, I'm Greg Lewis. Welcome to the choppy waters of San Francisco Bay on a magnificent day for this Escape from Alcatraz triathlon. Of course, what these athletes here, some 700 plus triathletes, are escaping from isn't literally the decaying concrete walls and rusting iron bars of Alcatraz. No, instead, they're trying to set themselves free from a prison of their own self-doubt and their own physical limitations. And the only way they can do that is to challenge these waters in a treacherous swim, and then a demanding bike ride and a grueling run. What does it take? Well, no one knows better than my broadcast partner, 6-time Ironman champion Dave Scott. Let's join Dave on the shore.
For the amateurs and pros alike, this year's swim is an unusual swim. It's the El Nino year. And the El Nino has brought on unusually cold, frigid water, very cold water. The first instinct is to panic, and for all the amateurs and pros alike, they've got to relax. Secondly, they've got to be aware of the tides. The tides are moving out towards the Golden Gate, and at the onset of the swim, they've got to move quickly towards shoreline, swim parallel to the coast, and look for the buoys at the finish line chute. It's a tough one, and that's an understatement.
The swim is part of any triathlon, but a swim in San Francisco Bay is anything but routine. Regardless, the triathletes separate themselves from the safety of the Hornblower, anxious to start their escape.
Okay, I'm going to start the race.
The race is on. Now each swimmer aims toward the San Francisco skyline. More than 700 athletes begin this escape from Alcatraz. Only a handful have a real chance of winning this prestigious title. Some just hope to finish.
Australian Greg Welch, defending champion, is one of the top triathletes in the world. Greg will be pressed by Americans Mike Pigg, a 4-time Alcatraz champion, and seasoned veteran American Wes Hobson. The women's pre-race favorite is undoubtedly Aussie McKeely Jones. 2 women capable of snapping McKeely's dominance are American Shawn Welch, Greg's wife, and former U.S. national swim member Barb Lindquist.
But most of the competitors here today are not elite triathletes. In fact, many plunging into the bay are doing so for the very first time. Most of them just want to test their own athletic prowess. Others are here on a dare, and some are using this challenge to expel personal demons. Regardless, they face a daunting, even overwhelming challenge. John Farner-Vitalik knows the desperation of solitary confinement. A decade ago, he was trapped for 16 days in an overturned car. He lost his lower leg to injuries, yet he refuses to let his disability imprison him now. Watching Dave Oliveri grab his nose as he jumps tells you something about his comfort level with the bay. A San Francisco native, Oliveri has lived his whole life by the bay, but after entering this race on a dare, he suddenly became obsessed by it.
I knew that I could ride a bike for 18 miles. I knew that I could run for 8 miles, but I knew very clearly that I could not swim more than 25 yards without blowing up, literally. That's what motivated me to learn how to swim first of all, was to do this race, but first of all, to learn how to swim. I'm confident that I'll be able to get out of the bay. I just don't know how long it's going to take me.
Up ahead, the leaders show little regard for the bay's reputation. Theirs is a battle against each other to see who will reach the transition area first.
Lars Jorgensen, 1988 Olympic distance swimmer, and Victor Perini are in the lead. Already the pack is spreading out. The current and swells of the bay does have an effect. It forces the second wave of athletes to either go extremely hard or to chase the leaders and settle back with a slower pack.
And there, in the pink cap, Barb Lindquist in 4th place overall.
I'm not surprised with Barb. She's just a fabulous swimmer and is going to take it out hard in the swim to show her dominance and try to get an early lead.
With Alcatraz shrinking behind them, the leaders fight toward the famed skyline ahead. Among them, America's Wes Hobson, who must build a lead in the swim to later hold off the likes of Welch and Pigg. To assist him, he's using a new device, a stroke saver, to pace himself.
The whole point of it is it helps your stroke efficiency rating, distance per stroke. It can tell how fast you're going per stroke. So there's a lot of neat things that this watch can do. You have to kind of have a set distance to use the watch, like a pool type swim, or exactly know how long the distance is. The good thing is I can count how many strokes it's going to take me to do 1.5 miles. It'll be kind of fun.
Most of the swimmers are averaging around 85 to 90 strokes per minute in this 30-minute swim. The top swimmers are taking roughly 2,500 strokes. Wes Hobson's strategy on the swim is to come out of the water with his top competitors. Knowing when to speed up or to slow down is solely dictated by the efforts of his main rivals.
Barb Lindquist remains 4th overall, building a huge advantage in the women's race. Now the leaders take a right turn west toward the Golden Gate and the Pacific, which fills the bay with ever-changing currents and uncertainty. Lars Jorgensen has the lead for the men, almost a minute ahead of defending champion Greg Welch, while Barb Lindquist commands the women's swim. The 1998 24-Hour Fitness Escape from Alcatraz is brought to you by 24-Hour Fitness. Call 1-800-204-2400 for the club near you. Mrs. T's Pierogies, nutrition plus taste in one package, in your grocer's freezer. Isuzu, go on water, go on hills, go on land. Isuzu, go farther. And by Ultima Replenisher, the official sports drink of the Escape from Alcatraz Triathlon.
This is my club, 24-Hour Fitness, and these are my members. Real people that want to get in shape and have fun doing it.
It's my job to keep them motivated, so we offer the latest in exercise classes for all fitness levels. Everything from spinning to body pump, hip-hop to yoga.
Yeah, this is my club, and I'm proud of it. You can ask anyone else at 24-Hour Fitness, and they'll tell you the same.
Find out why 24-Hour Fitness is America's fastest-growing fitness chain. Call today.
24-Hour Fitness. When you find the time, you'll find us open.
Sports cars are tested on the high-speed straightaways of the German Autobahn, on the high-banked curves of an oval racetrack. Yeah, we got bored with that. The new 205-horsepower Isuzu Amigo. It leaves sports cars in the dust, literally.
A definition does not exist. To explain it, an impossible task. To comprehend it, you must experience it. Over $5 million worth of merchandise will be sold for under $3 million. This can only be described as the Stroud's clearance experience. Wall-to-wall markdowns in every category, many as much as 70% below department store white sale prices. It's Stroud's most important sale of the year, an unprecedented opportunity to get the best money can buy for a lot less money.
Time is running out on a dynamite deal.
This is the ride. This is the feel.
Through June 30th, 1.9 APR, GMAC financing saves you over $2,100 on Regal by Buick.
Buick's got a hot new ride.
The award-winning Regal saves you thousands over Camry and Accord. Plus, there's an additional GM loyalty bonus of $500 after your best deal. This offer ends June 30th. Hurry to your Northern California Buick dealer.
Though timeless in its lore, Alcatraz operated as a federal prison for only 31 years after opening in 1934. Its mission? To quell the gangster rule of the era, and so it was designed to hold the most notorious names in crime. Part of the Rock's legend is the 1962 escape attempt of Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers, who broke through holes in their cells, crawled to the prison roof through air ducts, and then to the outside walls. But they were never seen again, and presumably drowned in the bay. The skyline on one side, the Golden Gate on the other. Great shot for the photo album. It's too early to tell if this race will need a photo finish, but the grueling swim has spread out the favorites. 1988 Olympian Lars Jorgensen reigns as pace setter through the bay. Defending champion Greg Welch works to stay close, Barb Lindquist leads the women's race, but more impressively is fourth overall, swimming among the elite men. Former escape champion Mike Pigg has fallen off pace, slightly out of shape after a timeout to enjoy the birth of his twins earlier this year. With St. Francis Yacht Club and the swim finish in sight, tactics intensify. Almost a dozen competitors fight for position along the rocks where one good wave could jeopardize their hopes.
The athletes sight the swim finish banner, and a number of them are running and diving off the bottom in an attempt to overcome the shoreline chop. But Welch and Carrie Clausen have a decisive faster tact into the transition. Exiting early, they run by the pack, a group that includes Barb Lindquist, the women's leader.
The defending champion, Greg Welch, reaches shore first, followed closely by American Carrie Clausen, a former Navy SEAL. Now the competitors remove their wetsuits, change into their running gear, and run half a mile to the transition area.
Greg and Carrie are both seasoned veterans and wisely surveyed the finish chute before race day. Transitions are critical in this event, and this small margin certainly gives them a psychological lift over their floundering competitors.
There's a log jam in the swim finish with Welch, Clausen, Vic Perini, Alcatraz rookie Chris McCormick, and Wes Hobson. And also in that group, Barb Lindquist as well. Greg Welch is first in this dash to the transition. Few events have a run this long after the swim, but their bodies deeply chilled by the bay, the triathletes would be at risk without this critical warm-up.
Quick transitions are a skill and an art, and Greg exemplifies his mastery over the rest of the field. Clausen and the women's leader, Barb Lindquist, are now in hot pursuit.
Greg Welch, first along the marina, though not always accustomed to beginning the bike portion in first place. And following, the younger American, Carrie Clausen. Greg and his wife Shawn came to San Francisco to compete as a duo. Now he's the men's leader while she's back in the pack. Racing brought them together, but ironically, racing's also one of the few times they're apart.
I remember meeting him and thinking, wow, he's a great guy.
I think we're soulmates now.
We're joined at the hip, and we wouldn't have it any other way.
We don't have very many hiccups, and we spend a lot of time together, and we're best friends. We just love each other, you know, and we're just so fortunate to have what we have, so we have no reason to be not smiley and happy.
In the small world of triathlon, Greg and Shawn Welch, married 5 years, are the office romance. He's Australian, she's from the States. They live 6 months out of the year in each country, but wherever you find them, you're likely to catch Greg creating something in the kitchen.
Cooking's probably the most favorite thing I like to do away from triathlon. I just like to get in the kitchen, and I think that's the way that I can sort of have a release from training. Look at that. One concoction.
And as their license plate reveals, they also have family goals to compete at the Sydney Olympics together.
Psychological confidence swells as the race unfolds, and for Greg Welch to come to the bike run transition with a slight lead is not what McCormick nor Hobson fantasized about.
Meanwhile, Barb Lindquist wants to put as much distance as possible between herself and McKeely Jones, who's usually much stronger on the bike and run portions. There's McKeely Jones leaving the transition, about 90 seconds behind Lindquist. Greg Welch prepares to leave the transition area, making sure he's equipped for his 18-mile ride. And there's his wife, Shawn, at the swim finish, in 5th place at the moment. On the out-and-back bike leg, Greg Welch may pass his wife here, but focused on their own victories, they probably won't even notice. About 10 seconds behind Welch, Clausen.
Oh, what a disappointment for Carrie. 2 years ago, I had the same mechanical problem, a flat tire, and Carrie Clausen is out with the same thing. A beautiful swim, and he's ended his race.
The bike route is 18 miles long. It starts with an extended uphill section through the Presidio and then winds along coastline cliffs until reaching the Pacific. After a loop around Golden Gate Park, it's back to Marina Green, mostly downhill. With an Isuzu tip on how to go farther on the bike, here's Dave.
San Francisco is synonymous for its steep hills, and for the triathletes, this is the first major hill, one of 20 that they're going to encounter throughout the race course. It's a significant hill for the amateurs in that if they don't quell their enthusiasm, when they reach the base of this hill, which is roughly a 13 to 15% grade for about 300 feet, they're going to be done with the race. There's 20 of these hills throughout the bike course. For the pros, it's a whole different strategy. For the top cyclists, it's an opportunity for them to make a break, and they've got to break away hard on this hill. You're going to see all different types of style from seated to standing, but again, if they can make it through this hill, they're certainly going to go farther.
With Clausen out of the race, Greg Welch's lead seems more comfortable, momentarily. Closing in is Vic Perini out of Memphis. Perini had a strong swim, but must attack Welch here if he hopes to have a chance in the run. In third now, Australia's Chris McCormick, the reigning world champion, racing in his first escape from Alcatraz. And back along the marina, Barb Lindquist sets out on her ride, solo, no doubt wondering when she'll feel the approaching shadow of McKeely Jones behind her. Now the men begin their ascent through the Presidio. Immediately, their bodies feel the change in slope. Leg muscles that were cold in the bay are now burning on the bike. Greg Welch in the lead is a triathlon icon back home in Sydney. Chris McCormick, an upstart. But today, one man's legs are stronger than the other man's legend. McCormick decides that staring at Welch's back isn't enough, and he makes the move to join him, leaving Vic Perini and Hobson behind.
Watching your mentor for years has given Chris McCormick a wealth of confidence and race strategy. He's decided that working in tandem gives him an opportunity to now evaluate his friend and whether his competitor is now going to possibly follow his leadership.
At the swim finish, John Vitalik has reached shore. His 45 minutes in the bay, nothing compared with 16 days trapped in an overturned car. And a victory already for Dave Oliveri. A year ago, he could barely swim. Today, he conquers one of the world's legendary swims and his own Bay of Fears. Aussies Welch and McCormick continue to lead the men, while Barb Lindquist maintains a sizable lead over defending champion McKeely Jones in this escape from Alcatraz.
I gotta tell you, there's a lot of pressure here. This working mom daycare thing really keeps you hopping. 5:30, I'm out of here. Oh, cool, Mrs. T's pierogies. Hey, after a tough day, a guy gets hungry. You have to get home, get organized, make dinner. Mrs. T's works for me. Now I can unwind.
Cook up a real meal. Easy, delicious Mrs. T's pierogies.
Oh, yeah.
Sports cars are tested on the high-speed straightaways of the German Autobahn. On the high-banked curves of an oval racetrack. Yeah, we get bored with that. The new 205 horsepower Isuzu Amigo. It leaves sports cars in the dust, literally.
Dorothy, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion learned it takes heart, brains, and courage to make dreams come true. Hi, I'm Cheryl Jennings. ABC 7 invites you to tell us about a child who has displayed remarkable heart, brains, and courage.
In 150 words or less, describe a favorite child and how they use these 3 admirable traits. Mail it to ABC 7. The top 3 winners will go on stage to receive a $1,000 savings bond from Coldy's and tickets to see The Wizard of Oz.
Just grab a pen and get ready to see the wizard.
Country, baby, don't you wanna go? I'm going to some place where I've never been before.
Wanna have some real fun this summer? Take the train and the kids, because this summer they ride for free. It's Amtrak California, and it's the way to go, especially with kids.
Your mom's probably like mine. She's been watching over you for years. And sometimes she forgets to take care of herself. Remind her to have routine preventive checkups. A regular pap smear, mammogram, and blood tests are the best way to stay in good health. For all the time she gave you, give her some back.
A trio of men speeds downhill. Leading this escape from Alcatraz, Australia's Greg Welch and Chris McCormick, and America's Wes Hobson. Beyond the Golden Gate, a thickening fog obscures the sun, and a mist slickens these undulating streets. A mean sheen that could send a rider skidding off his bike and out of control. Further back, women's leader Barb Lindquist begins her cycling ascent. And back at the swim finish, the mood is much lighter. Gene Allen has overcome a difficult swim, but the transition ahead could be the most important of his life.
Straight from the rock. With this rock. For you that doesn't fit, pretend it's on that finger. And I want you to marry me. Will you do that?
Gene came from the rock with a rock. Oh, by the way, honey, have you seen my bicycle? And Bill Bell completes yet another swim from Alcatraz. He has returned to this event as the oldest competitor, 75. This Alcatraz is also a benchmark for Eric Gilsonen. This is his 10th, and the 10th anniversary of his decision to stop drinking.
Oh, God.
He credits triathlon with helping him stay sober.
Running and triathlons, the multi-sport lifestyle has saved my life. I was a party man, you know, I was a party animal. So for me, the escape from Alcatraz represents to me the escape from addiction.
It was a dishonorable discharge from the Coast Guard that made Eric realize he had hit bottom. He took up running to kill the hour and a half between work and counseling. Immediately, he discovered a new high, and his life took an ever-rising turn for the better.
Even my worst day doing triathlons is better than my, best day drinking. I'd rather swim around Alcatraz for hours than go back to the lifestyle I was leading.
All right, see you guys.
Eric told us he used to sit on a bar stool and only talk about what he was going to do with his life. Today, he's out doing it.
The men have reached the Great Highway along the Pacific Ocean, just short of the Golden Gate Park. The severe uphills are behind them for now, but they will have to face them once again on the 8-mile run.
Alcatraz rookie Chris McCormick seized the lead heading into the park, but until then, it was a game of cat and mouse between McCormick and his mentor, Greg Welch.
Chris knows that the race will unfold on the run, and being a first-timer on this course, he's biding his time, drawing on his reserves in preparation for the run.
At times, their rivalry appears to be a joyride of sorts, a little friendly conversation and casual glances, but it is, in fact, a game of will and wits. Back in the Presidio, Barb Lindquist retains her lead. While defending champion McKeely Jones strives to whittle it away. Trailing is not a position Jones is accustomed to.
I'm pretty quiet. You know, I'm a little shy, I guess. But when I get to the start line, it's a different story. If someone gets in my way, I'm not gonna, let them get in my way, basically. And I'm pretty tough when I want to be.
Defending champion McKeely Jones is at home being out in front during a race, though when she's at home training, she's usually the one being pulled around.
Well, I actually have 3 miniature pincers, and my first 2, I named them after my world championships that I won. One in Muskoka, so one of them's named Muskoka, and in Manchester, England. One of them's named Manchester, or Manny for short. Then I have a new one. She's 5 months old, and her name's Tinkerbell.
McKeely wanted to name her latest edition Sydney, where triathlon will make its Olympic debut in 2000, but her husband was too superstitious. Makes you wonder if she ever considered naming the dog Al. Alcatraz, that is.
I've never seen McKeely panic in any triathlon. She's patient, reserved, and when she pounces, she's unrelentless in her attack.
In Golden Gate Park, Wes Hobson has crashed the Aussie party and taken the lead halfway through the bike course. But others are content just to be starting their second leg of Alcatraz. John Farner Vitalik, 75-year-old Bill Bell making friends the entire way. Dave Oliveri, all smiles now that he's free of his wetsuit. And then there's Gene Allen. In training for Alcatraz, his goal was a personal best. Well, when Chandra Longnecker said yes to this proposal after the swim, that's exactly what he achieved. Funny how life changes at a triathlon. A look at the ultimate scoreboard shows Wes Hobson leads a tight trio in the men's race. In the women's event, defending champion McKeely Jones attempts to chip away at Barb Lindquist's lead.
Go farther. Go farther.
The completely reinvented 205 horsepower Isuzu Rodeo.
Son, we're preparing a will.
You don't have to say anything.
Actually, I think we do. Your sister's getting everything.
What?
You were a rotten kid. You drove your father crazy.
But I'm counting on that money to retire.
Hear that? Still greedy.
Never prepared himself.
Don't be caught unprepared. Get outstanding research, investment expertise, and global strength at Alliance Capital, because later is sooner than you think.
So Nicoderm CQ's working for you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing just fine, cold turkey.
Oh, well, that's great.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Jack. Yeah.
Take a break?
Oh, nice one. Come on, you know we quit. Oh, wait, I'm coming.
Jack, no.
Just one cigarette.
No.
Why are you so calm?
Because I got help. CQ, a 24-hour stream of medicine that's always with you, even when you first wake up. Helps calm the cravings, my friend.
All right.
Nicoderm CQ, the power to calm, the power to comfort, the power to help you quit.
Tonight, a Wonderful World of Disney summer premiere. It took a special dog to teach a family about friendship.
Hey, come on, quit it.
About life.
I am really proud of you.
About love. The dog that has become a part of every family for generations will touch your heart in an all-new adventure. The Wonderful World of Disney presents Lassie.
And at 11, Jennifer Moss, Sam Shane, and ABC 7 News.
When you get together with your family and friends this summer, make sure you pick up the KFC. Your whole crowd will love it. And right now, pick up 12 pieces of the Colonel's Chicken, original recipe, or extra tasty crispy, just $10.99. And don't forget the hot wings. Ooh. They love us! Summer's here. Isn't it time for some really good chicken?
In their escape from Alcatraz, the women are at the halfway point of the bike leg, and still, defending champion McKeely Jones cannot reel in Barb Lindquist. The American has led from the start, trying to escape not only Alcatraz, but her reputation as a bridesmaid in this event.
The unfortunate mechanical mishap even hits the best in the world. Whatever time McKeely has made up on the bike is now being gobbled up by dropping her chain, and unfortunately at the bottom of the Cliff House climb.
Unaware of McKeely's troubles, Lindquist presses on. Up ahead, the men enjoy a respite of sorts, downhill racing. The trio of Hobson, Welch, and McCormick seem uncatchable. At this point, Hobson leads the two Australians, but just past the Legion of Honor, McCormick decides to make his move on the American. Whoever claims the lead here just might own it all the way downhill back to the marina.
But in this cat and mouse game, McCormick turns too wide and then temporarily settles into the third slot.
Downhill again, the leaders reach speeds close to 30 miles an hour.
I was surprised to see Greg Welch and Chris McCormick come out of the water together in first place. Typically at this point in the race, they're usually playing catch-up. And surprisingly, Wes Hobson, who was back off that pace, has now made up the deficit, and it's a trio riding together.
From the moment they left Marina Green almost 15 miles ago, this trio has exchanged the lead. At the same time, they had to climb San Francisco's fabled hills. They had to counter each other's mind games along the way. Chris McCormick, taking part in his first escape from Alcatraz, barely knows what lies around the next turn. Still, he shows incredible composure, joining in these high-tempo tactics. Then, his veteran rival Greg Welch makes yet another move for the lead. Will this be the moment when the defending champion shakes McCormick and Hobson loose? One hour after this event began, the swim course is closed. Some who have tempted Alcatraz lure will not reach the shore on their own. But Robin Weiss did make it on her own, the last swimmer out, and forever able to claim, "I swam Alcatraz." Along Crissy Field, Alcatraz reveals itself to the men's leaders, letting them know they're close to the transition area. Their race is almost two-thirds complete, but hardly over.
Barb Lindquist is obviously slowing slightly as the race lingers on, hopefully focusing on the remaining cycling miles and not the stalker, McKeely Jones. After dropping her chain, McKeely needs to attack all the closing climbs. She knows that a 2-minute margin at the transition is not an insurmountable deficit.
What a statement by Wes Hobson, fifth a year ago, but now back into the lead of the men's race. Instead of riding into the transition area with the Australians, Hobson boldly jumped ahead as if to say, "Not today. You guys can try to catch me in the final leg of this race."
Wes's final psychological surge to the bike-run transition is only countered by Greg Welch. Again, the psychological battle never ceases as they try to retain the leadership going into the run. Wes Hobson has got to be uncomfortable at this point in the race. Obviously, he would like to have a little margin going into the run. And he's faced with two of the greatest runners in our sport, Greg Welch and Chris McCormick.
Greg Welch appears to be first, heading out for the run. But wait, he's heading the wrong way.
These things happen in the sport, and I'm sure Greg Welch is not even going to think about it. He's confident in his run, and he's going to start attacking right now. Over the past 5 years, the Europeans and the Australians have stolen the thunder from the American dominance. The start of this run gives Wes Hobson an opportunity to make a statement that the American talent can still compete with the world's best. On the other hand, Chris McCormick is one of the premier stars, reigning world champion, and one of the most brilliant runners in the sport. Greg Welch is an equally gifted runner, and this Aussie duo has no intention of letting Wes upend their moment.
Meanwhile, women's leader Barb Lindquist has made it back to Crissy Field. The American has ridden the entire bike course by herself, never knowing how far back McKeely Jones is, but always knowing the Australian is capable of extraordinary comebacks on the run. The men are once again on Marina Boulevard, this time on foot, for the final leg of this escape from Alcatraz. 8 more miles would determine who emerges from this threesome a champion. Early on, the Australians make a move on Hobson. The American cannot respond. For the moment, this has become a two-person race, Greg Welch and Chris McCormick, a contest between idol and protege. With 7 miles to go, Welch and McCormick lead the men's race, while Barb Lindquist appears ready to claim her first Alcatraz title. This morning, the California Hornblower served as the race starting point. But last night, many of the world's top triathletes gathered for a different affair. Not black tie, but not black neoprene either. A dinner cruise around San Francisco Bay, complete with spectacular fireworks. The California Hornblower, the luxurious way to see the bay.
When did you last go far from the lights of the blazing electric metropolis and look up? The 1998 Isuzu Trooper, equipped with a new advanced torque-on-demand traction system to go places the power company can't find.
Join ABC7 and 400,000 of your closest neighbors for the San Jose America Festival at Guadalupe River Park in downtown San Jose. There's loud music, bright fireworks, and lots of great food. And don't forget to visit ABC7 news anchors and reporters at the ABC7 booth. It's all at the San Jose America Festival, July 3rd and 4th in Guadalupe River Park, San Jose. Call or visit their website for more information. Presented in part by ABC7.
A definition does not exist. To explain it, an impossible task. To comprehend it, you must experience it. Over $5 million worth of merchandise will be sold for under $3 million. This can only be described as the Stroud's Clearance Experience. Crocil, Laura Ashley, Echo, Crown Crafts, Veritex, Martex. Over 100 fashion ensembles now marked down as much as 50%. It's Stroud's biggest fashion clearance of the year. The best money can buy for a lot less money.
The 24-Hour Fitness Escape from Alcatraz is brought to you by 24-Hour Fitness. Call 1-800-204-2400 for the club near you. Barb Lindquist, the first woman to arrive at the transition, heads out for the 8-mile run that separates her from victory. She's led this race from the start and still holds a comfortable lead over McKeely Jones.
And now is the moment of truth for Barb Lindquist. When you can't see your competitors, the confidence soars. But when you see the piercing eyes of your competition bearing down on you, it's time to restore your own pride and your own race strategy.
The men's race is now a battle between two Australians, defending champion Greg Welch and his protege Chris McCormick. The two have competed in tandem virtually since stepping out of San Francisco Bay earlier this morning. Now the duo attack Fern Grove under the Golden Gate Bridge, running side by side, stride for stride. It's difficult to tell whether or not McCormick has so much respect for the man who got him into triathlon, he won't make a move on him. And he knows Welch's experience is too valuable a tool to ignore. As they head to the beach, McCormick remains Welch's shadow.
As McKeely Jones enters the transition, I'm sure she's trying to boost her confidence by mentally reciting her victory in '97. She was down 2 minutes on Barb Lindquist and slowly reeled her in last year. The question that she is now wrestling with is, can her running legs save her once again?
The run course starts out similar to the bike, but climbs the hills just under the Golden Gate Bridge. It then descends to the beach for about 2 miles before hitting the infamous sand steps, where Dave Scott has an Isuzu tip on how to go farther on the climb.
I'm standing about 200 feet up, absolutely the most difficult hill I've ever seen in any triathlon worldwide. It starts at the ocean, comes up 250 steps, and then all of a sudden the steps disappear. The sand becomes as thick as quicksand. If you watch my steps, every time you step, your foot slides back. You step and you slide back again. It sinks in. The quads that are used on the bike are fatigued, extremely fatigued. Amateurs and pros alike, this is not the hill to be the king or the queen of the climb. It's a time to be patient. You're just a little over halfway into the run, and it's a point that you should conserve energy and not try to beat everyone up this climb.
While the distance in which to make a final move steadily disappears, Welch and McCormick reach Baker Beach, the halfway mark of the run just ahead. But pressure seems non-existent. Both Australians are enjoying this jaunt along the Pacific.
Greg and Chris are truly a lesson in fluidity and flawless running biomechanics. And even running on this soft sand, they make it look so easy.
On the road above the beach, Barb Lindquist's weaknesses in the run start to show. Her stride is not as powerful, and her face reveals a grim resolve to hold on to first place. Less than a minute behind is McKeely Jones, and the defending champion has the benefit of hearing reports on Lindquist from the spectators along the course. And back at Fern Grove, Greg Welch's wife, Shawn, continues in 5th place, fighting her own battle and no doubt unaware of the battle her husband is waging miles ahead. Eventually, the men hit the sand steps, almost 5 miles into the run. It takes the best conditioned athletes 400 steps to make it from the Pacific Ocean to the road up above, and with each grueling step, the heart beats harder while fatigued muscles scream for relief. For a first-timer like Chris McCormick, this could be a rude awakening.
You can even see the elite athletes such as Greg and Chris using the cables along the steps to pull themselves up. All Chris has to do is pace himself behind Greg. Welch hates these steps, and he knows that it's fruitless to try to make up a move here. Patience is paramount for the final 4-mile push to the finish line.
More than 30 seconds behind, Wes Hobson, at this point fighting to hold on to 3rd.
Wes has been plagued with fatigue in the run segments in his last few races, and right now a wave of desperation is overwhelming him. McCormick and Welch are gone, but the rest of the pack is hungry to pick him off.
In 7th place, Mike Pigg begins his ascent on the sand steps, and for the first time in years, he's never been a factor in the race. Almost halfway through the women's run, McKeely Jones has caught Barb Lindquist for the first time. Though Lindquist cannot hear McKeely's steps, she knows the defending champion is there.
The haunting feeling of your competitor closing the gap and then passing you magnifies the feeling of frustration and ultimately defeat. Barb has to run within herself and continually evaluate her physical, emotional, and psychological state. The race is not over yet.
With his first ascent up the sand steps comfortably behind him, Chris McCormick appears ready to announce he's in this race to win. But with little more than 3 miles remaining, both McCormick and Welch remain patient, each vigilant, awaiting the other's first hint of a move. The Golden Gate Bridge appears off to the left. Soon Alcatraz will show itself around the bend, a sign this escape is coming to an end. Running this race is one thing. Managing race security, an equally daunting task. The man for the job, Sergeant John Fuhrer.
It's actually a fun participation role for the police officers to facilitate this, to make sure that intersections are secured. They get kind of a glimpse of what's going on. Hopefully they're not standing and watching the parade of humanity go by, but it's a very good event.
Guiding light that shines across this darkened life of mine. Some soul in me, a gift of love to me, life to live for me.
Why does Tums control acid faster than Pepsid AC? Because they work on your stomach acid in totally different ways. Tums Calcium naturally rapidly neutralizes acid so it works fast. Pepsid AC's famotidine has to travel through your bloodstream, so it takes at least 40 minutes to block natural acid production. So why does Tums work on acid faster and cost less, and Pepsid AC works slower and costs more?
Good question.
Tonight on ABC 7 News at 5.
Thousands turn out in San Francisco today for the Gay Pride Parade. We will have a live report, but in New York City, the scene wasn't as friendly.
In China, President Clinton and the First Family spent this day taking in the Great Wall and breaking down more diplomatic barriers. We'll tell you what he said and what's next for the president.
Plus, we will update the search for Christina Williams. We'll have a live report there. Be sure to join us for all the news, weather, and sports on ABC 7 News at 5.
Where once these ancient nameplates ruled, now each of them succumbs. For paradigms doth shift when something wicked this way comes. Introducing an automobile that outperforms the competition everywhere, including the bottom line, the Lexus GS, Motor Trend Import Car of the Year. See it now at your Northern California Lexus dealer.
With the triathletes making their way back to Marina Green, the intensity is picking up here at the 24-hour Fitness Rockin' Fitness Fest. It's a party-like atmosphere with many top health and fitness exhibitions, providing a chance to try your skill at a number of extreme activities. Well, triathlons are about fitness, and the man who knows about fitness is Mark Masteroff, CEO of 24-Hour Fitness. You've got to be very happy. You got the largest field ever in the event this year.
Oh, it's incredible. 750 racers. I mean, you couldn't fill the boat up with much more. It was a great morning.
Do you have any favorites? You see anybody you like this year?
Well, I'm going to pull for Mike Pigg like always. He's like a local boy as far as I'm concerned, but the Aussies, they're tough. You know, McKeely Jones on the females is going to be very tough. And then Greg and Chris, neck and neck. I don't know where we're going to see those guys. They're going to be very tough, too.
Well, thank you for your sponsorship. Another great year.
We're pleased to be here. Thanks for having us.
Greg, from where the men are now, they can see the downtown skyline and the final mile to the finish at Marina Green. There seems to be no break in their rhythm, and once again, as they come down the final flats, they're running side by side. Here's a time to keep an eye on McCormick. He's known for his incredible sprinting ability.
2 hours ago, when the race began, they probably never thought this escape would come down to the final mile. Back in the women's race, the new leader, McKeely Jones, is halfway up the sand steps.
Look at how McKeely is grabbing onto the guard lines to hold on. She's using everything she can to get up these horrific sand steps. She's expended a lot of energy chasing down Barb Lindquist, and I hope she has a little something for the final 3.5 miles.
Right behind McKeely, Barb Lindquist is reaching inside to find a last burst of emotion, to stay with the defending champion. After leading most of the race, she must ache with disappointment to trail now, but there's no energy to waste on disappointment. With only a mile left, the mood of the men's race has changed. The smiles and banter between the two Australians have disappeared. Now Greg Welch and Chris McCormick pick up the pace. Friendship will fade until after the finish line. At the top of the sand steps, McKeely Jones looks fresh. When she arrived at the beach, she was still chasing down Barb Lindquist. But leaving Baker Beach as the new leader certainly makes the sand steps less painful. For Lindquist, just the opposite. Fatigue plagues her stride. She's falling further behind. Greg Welch and Chris McCormick have reached the marina. They left the Rock almost 2 hours earlier, and now the battle between the idol and his protege has come down to an 800-meter match race. And now McCormick appears to be making his move.
Greg, it's just unbelievable watching him. There's no change in his running form, and yet the margin keeps growing and growing. He is so powerful. And look at that finish coming in here. They are sprinting all out coming into the grass, just opening up that margin, and Greg is just a test of futility right now.
50 yards to go. McCormick in total control. He stretches out the lead. The banner awaits. McCormick wins his first escape from Alcatraz. And Greg Welch, defending champ, is second.
I'm not sure if this is a changing of the guards or not, but I've never seen such confidence in a young athlete as Chris McCormick. He's just a great, great talent. Back at the marina, Alec Rukasoyev and Mark Bates battle for third place. While they make their way in, here's Greg with our new Escape from Alcatraz champion.
Well, the defending champion drops this race to the reigning world champion. For you, the longest triathlon you've ever done now. So what was your strategy as you're following the defending champion right on his shoulder?
Well, this is the guy that got me into the sport, so when you're racing Greg Welch, you just follow his leads. He's been in the sport for so long, so, you know, I swam with him, and then we rode together, and we ran together, and, you know, we're from the same town, so I felt a bit bad, you know, sprinting in, but sorry, Greg.
I don't feel bad at all because, you know, Chris is my young protege here, and he's coming through. I've still got like a few years left in the sport, but if I'm going to lose to anyone, I'd rather lose to the world champion.
Congratulations to both of you. A great race.
Thank you very much.
Similar to McCormick's sprint, Rukasoyev pulled away into the Marina Green and will end up in third place just ahead of Mark Bates. He had a brilliant race, fell off a bit on the bike, but was patient on the run and salvaged a tremendous finish.
Alcatraz rookie Chris McCormick outruns his Australian hero by 6 seconds for the win. Look out in Sydney, a hometown rivalry could be brewing.
And a gallant finish for Wes Hobson. With a little more tenacity on the run, he's still competing with the world's best.
Well, one defending champion has already gone down today. Can McKeely Jones defend her crown? Barb Lindquist had McKeely on the run most of the morning. Does she have enough strength for a final attack? Now in the lead, McKeely remembers what it's like to be the hunted, not the hunter. And the footsteps Barb hears now are no longer McKeely Jones, but her own, desperately chasing the lead.
Go farther. The completely reinvented 205 horsepower Isuzu Rodeo. Too far.
A grandson. I'm the luckiest man alive.
Well, maybe not so lucky.
What?
Well, you never saved any money, Dad, and we can't afford you and the baby. You gotta move out.
But I want to spend time with him.
Oh, you can. The movers won't be here until 4. Uh-oh, they're here early. Wave bye-bye to Grandpa. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Don't be caught unprepared. Get outstanding research, investment expertise, and global strength at Alliance Capital, because later is sooner than you think.
Tonight, a wonderful World of Disney summer premiere. It took a special dog to teach a family about friendship,
Hey, come on, quit it!
about life,
I am really proud of you.
about love. The dog that has become a part of every family for generations will touch your heart in an all-new adventure. The Wonderful World of Disney presents Lassie.
And at 11, Jennifer Moss, Sam Shane, and ABC 7 News.
Country, baby, don't you wanna go? I'm going to some place where I've never been before.
Want to have some real fun this summer? Take the train and the kids, because this summer they ride for free. It's Amtrak California, and it's the way to go, especially with kids.
Need a good night's sleep? Go to Mattress Discounters. You'll have the confidence of knowing they're the largest mattress retailer in the country and the world's largest Sealy retailer. With all that buying power, they always guarantee the best prices because all they sell are mattresses. They're the experts. They know more than anybody else. And if you hurry in now, you'll save even more during their big sale. Mattress Discounters. They put America to bed.
The 24-hour fitness escape from Alcatraz was brought to you by 24-Hour Fitness. Call 1-800-204-2400 for the club near you. Saucony Athletic Footwear. Saucony, loyal to the sport. Isuzu, sponsored by the Isuzu Trooper, the 2-ton triathlete with 4-wheel drive and torque on demand. Isuzu, go farther. And by Inside Triathlon. For a free issue of Inside Triathlon magazine, call 800-494-1143. There's only one champion at Escape from Alcatraz, but we've seen many victories here. At a first glance, John Farner Vitalik may appear to be handicapped, but he refuses to let any entrapment prevent him from accomplishing impressive feats. A year ago, Dave Oliveri could barely swim, but he has proved that with commitment, you can succeed. For Eric Gilsonen, his 10th Alcatraz is a benchmark that celebrates a decade of clean living. At 75 years of age, Bill Bell has been around longer than Alcatraz itself, but he never tires of conquering its reputation. And back along the marina, McKeely Jones breaks her first smile of the morning. As the crowd grows larger toward the finish, she offers kisses to those who started gathering here at dawn to see her. More than a minute back, Barb Lindquist returns to a quieter crowd. The champion has already passed. Still, Lindquist can be proud of her race against Jones today.
I've seen McKeely Jones race in numerous triathlons, and she has a determination and grittiness that is unparalleled in our sport, man or woman. While others would have been panicked by the seemingly insurmountable 2-minute cushion of Barb Lindquist, McKeely methodically chipped away at the lead and again is the victor. A brilliant race by the top female triathlete in the world.
And what a greeting now for Barb Lindquist. Remember, when she left this arena 40 minutes ago, she owned a large lead, and this crowd recognizes her effort. What a race. She dominated the women's swim, finishing 4th overall. She'll be back, and after today's experience, she'll race even better.
McKeely, you always seem to have patience in this. I think going into the race last year, your confidence getting off the bike, you were down. Again, the same thing this year. Barb had an earlier lead. You chipped away a little bit on the bike, but you still were patient on the run and came back.
Yeah, you know, I know Barb's, a great swim biker, and I have to, just stay calm and do the best I can and hopefully pick her up at the end, and picked her up about 4 miles.
Well, great day today. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Earlier, her husband finished 2nd. Now Sean Welch comes in 6th. They'll compare their day at the office, share a hug, and then return home to plan their next race together. McKeely Jones successfully defends her Alcatraz title, coming back to defeat Barb Lindquist on the run. Jackie Gallagher finished 3rd in her first trip here. What a race for the Australians. The day began at dawn for this field of 700 strong, and as the fog lifted off Alcatraz, many saw this island in a new light. No more is the Rock just a haunting memory of Al Capone and Machine Gun Kelly. For those who began their day in the chilling currents of the bay, Alcatraz unlocked the inner strength that allows all of us to become heroes, at least for a day. Timing provided by Swatch, the official timekeeper of the Escape from Alcatraz Triathlon. Clothing provided by Speedo, authentic fitness. Promotional consideration provided by Hornblower. Hornblower Cruises and Events has cruises for every occasion and every budget. From an intimate night to a grand affair for $1,000, Hornblower will make any occasion unforgettable. Transportation provided by Kerry Limousine, who offers chauffeur-driven limousines and sedans in 420 cities and 65 countries. For more information, call 1-800-336-4646. So, as Isuzu Vice President Joe Filona presents the Isuzu Go Farther Awards to our champions, Chris McCormick and McKeely Jones, this is Greg Lewis for Dave Scott saying goodbye from San Francisco.
What is it